Hello Avenue families, welcome to our online parenting class for March 2023. We're so excited to be joining you again from our favorite room to your favorite room as we look back and review some of the things we've been talking about on Sunday nights in our marriage class and our marriage connection. Last week we had a great time capping off our whole entire time together with a huge date night. We had about 45 couples show up for a time of fun, celebrating, and just laughter together. But what we want to do this evening is just talk to you a little bit about the things we talked about in our final two sessions as we talked about this idea of a Christ-centered marriage. 2 weeks ago, we talked about stewardship. What does it look like for us in our marriages to be wise before God with our relationship, our responsibilities, and our resources? What does it look like for us to be wise with our time, talent, and treasure?
As we talk about this idea, a lot of times when we talk about stewardship at church, we're talking about money. But as Dan just said, time, treasure, and talent. And as we talked about in marriage, we talked about using our resources wisely inside of our marriage, using our time wisely. How do you do that inside of marriage? We talked about finding times for your kids, for your marriage, for worship, for organizing all of those things. We also talked about just divvying out the responsibilities inside of marriage. Stewardship comes down to using your time wisely. And we talked about this, that not all the chores or things that go on inside of a marriage is one person's or the other's. You're in this together and you should be doing it together. I know that we shared that many times we text throughout the day and say, hey, can you do this? And I'll do this, in order to divvy out the responsibilities so that we're using our time wisely, so that when we do come together at the end of the day, then we have time to actually pour into our marriage or pour into our kids or pour into our family.
Our final session was all around the idea of having a Christ-centered home. We talked about Romans 12, 1 and 2. We talked about three key things that helped us understand what it looks like for us to have a Christ-centered home, whether it be our marriage or our parenting. We talked about a Christ-centered word, that we follow God's word with our marriage and with our parenting. We talked about this idea of worship, that our marriage, all parts of our marriage, stewardship, intimacy, how we communicate, is all based on us worshiping God. We offer ourselves, all the things that happen in marriage, as an act of worship toward God. And then we talked about our will. So often in marriage, we have this struggle with what is God's will for our life? What is God's will for our careers, our family, our children? But if we are focusing on God's word and also on worship in our marriage, it's going to change up how we approach each other and also our parenting. We talked a lot about this idea that we set those things up, we give up our will. Christ-centered marriage is all about God's word, worshiping him, but also giving up who we are, our strong-willedness, our willingness to be us, to say, God, let us be more like you. We've spent 5 weeks really focusing our attention with 15, 16 couples every Sunday night talking together. We're looking forward to another session in a few weeks, just a short 4-week session, as we talk about what does it look like for us to have a generation that goes on for God. So be looking for those announcements, that information, so you can sign up for our final 4 weeks of this school year before we take a break for summer and we come back next fall. As always, we are here for you as a couple, as parents, as a married couple, for you. You can reach out to us, talk to us, connect with us. We would love to know how we can pray with you, cry with you, or just live life together with you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you check out all the great information. The great things are coming up in our ministry, our family ministry, as more and more things happen, and God does great things at Avenue Christian Church.